Priestesses, I'm Rebecca, the founder of the Female Entrepreneurs Network. Welcome to the show. Here you're going to find badass human beings, creatives, adventurous people and massive action takers. If you need any more support or love, head over to the femaleentrepreneursnetwork.com to find everything that you could ever possibly need. Always remember to speak your truth, be who you are, because you are always enough. And there is someone out there who needs to hear your message today. Enjoy this episode, and if you love us, share us with your mates. I love you all, Rebecca. Welcome, Eyenie Schultz.
That's okay.
Is that right? Eyenie?
Yeah, Eyenie. Yeah, Eyenie.
Mm-hmm. It's such an amazing name.
Thank you.
AKA Technicolor Priestess. So you are a style alchemist and an iconic presence expert who helps badass entrepreneurs, artists and light workers express themselves from the inside out so that they can show up as their version of iconic and magnetize their ideal clients and patrons. I absolutely love this. There's so much stuff that's just jumped out at me then, and it reminded me of why I invited you on this podcast, on this interview, and why I wanted to chat to you properly, because like everything that you are is incredible. But look, I'm going to let you take over and explain to us what you do and who you are properly, because I'm just rubbish at reading stuff off. And
no, you did a beautiful job. Rubbish. You are not. It's rubbish that you think you're rubbish at that, because I don't agree.
You go ahead. Who are you?
I'm Eyenie Schultz, and I'm basically just a dork who's obsessed with showing people how beautiful they are and how much they can, and how amazing they can feel when they show up as themselves. So everything is energy. The way we dress, the clothes we wear, the way we put it together, that's just energy. And so it can either support us or not. It can hold us back. So why not freaking have it support us, right? So my mission is to help women to understand what their style is, what their signature style, or I call it style essence, is, right? Because it's a visual expression of their essence, of their innermost energy, right? So that they can just feel at home in themselves and feel next level and just vibrate at a whole other frequency, because it really is that powerful. So that's what I love about style, is that just, it's so powerful because it's immediate. Like if you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror or on the side of a building when you, have an outfit that you totally love that feels like you're instantly like, damn. So your brain sees that you're becoming that person you want to be, right? Yes. And it totally, it boosts your confidence. It's an easy peasy way to sort of shift a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I love this. And firstly, though, I want to speak about how I found you, because I think it was so random. I was literally searching for quotes for female entrepreneurs on Google, and one of your quotes came up, and I just loved the image and how it was created, and so I clicked on it, and then a load more came up. So I was reading through them, and I was like, oh my god, this is like, I love this stuff. And honestly, I almost took one of your quotes and started using it, and I thought, well, that's not fair, because this isn't my quote. Yeah. So I was like, right, I need to find out a bit more about this woman. So that led me through to you. I think it was one of your social media accounts, which led me through to your website. And then when I saw what you did, I was like, wow, like I do need to speak to this woman more. Not only because of the quote, obviously it was epic, but because of the language that you use, the way that you speak, the way that you show up, and the way that you then talk about helping other people show up. And bonus, it's about clothes and style. Like, ding, ding, ding. But then you've also like fed it all into this beautiful kind of, I suppose, a bit like spiritually woo-woo-y kind of beautifulness of just what it is, like the pure essence of what it is. And I just absolutely love it. So how did you end up?
I didn't know that.
Sorry, you cut out then. I missed what you said.
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you. I didn't know that that's how you found me, or I didn't know any of that. So thank you for sharing that. That's good. And I'm so happy my work resonates. And so thank you. How did I end up here? I think I've always been obsessed with showing, like really from as far back as I can remember, I was trying to make people over. I don't even know how I learned, but I was like, you're amazing. Let me show you. And so I would go like put makeup on people, like change even, you know, boys and girls, you know, change how they were dressing, all these things. And I just was addicted to the reaction of, oh my God, I didn't know I could look like this. Oh my God. And just the instant shift in their energy. And it was just like, delicious to me. So I resisted it for a long time because, you know, I learned that in order to be smart or to be credible, you have to have like a traditional, yeah, you have to have a traditional, you know, path. You have to be in an acceptable, you know, prestigious position or whatever. And I was like, so I really resisted it because I was like, oh, it's so fluffy, and already I'm like peppy and stuff. So people are gonna just think I'm a total airhead or something, like a total, you know, totally fluffy. Um, but apparently the universe was like, you're not going to ignore this. So eventually I realized I could combine my love of woo woo stuff, you know, energy stuff that I've been doing all my life too, and you know, my just different parts of myself. I could incorporate it all to come up with to do my work, right, to my signature sort of mission and my offerings. So yeah, I guess after years of resistance and of trying to avoid it, trying to do something different, it just came back and got me, you
Yeah,
know.
bit you on the ass.
Bit me right in the ass. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So I love this because like I have so many of my clients come to me and they say like I love traveling. I love traveling. I love writing. But I also love like just being random and doing random stuff. And I don't understand what I can do with my life
Yeah.
to just be fulfilled. Yeah. But to me, that all makes complete sense together.
Yep.
Yeah. But people come and,
Yeah.
you know, there are so many different pieces that they feel muddled up about. And they're like, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know how to put it together. I don't know how to make money from this. I just don't know how to create the life that I love.
Yeah.
And like, it just feels so clear to me. Like
Mm.
I can see exactly how they can fit it all together perfectly and create the dreams that they desire. So I'm really interested to hear when you say you ended up doing like some peppy jobs or whatever, like what were them jobs? Like what was it that you ended up doing before like it really did come back and bite you?
Yes, so I resisted. I went to university. I even got a master's degree in international affairs
Wow.
because my thought was if I join like the United Nations, if I'm like a or if I become like a foreign service officer, then I'll dispute credible, right? So I went and did this whole thing, and you know, I got this degree, and then I started getting, well, for different reasons, I didn't end up going into, you know, foreign service, but I started getting corporate jobs. So in marketing and these different things. Um, One of them was really fun actually in Los Angeles, where, you know, scouting like B and C level celebrities for infomercials. That's a whole other story. So you know, but
Um,
every day when I was working at these jobs, I was just like, yes, I'm making steady money, and there's a chance to whatever make more money or whatever. But I was just knew there was something missing, and I knew that I was sort of like, I just kept hearing, I don't know if you know the Bjork song, There's More to Life Than This. Like that was on repeat in my head. There's more to life than this. And I would go for a bathroom break and cry in the hallway. So it's like, you know, and then all along I had friends telling me, oh my God, like one friend, she worked at a publishing house and she gave me like a whole stack of books on psychology. She's like, I feel like this is what you need to do, like psychology and counseling. That's what you're meant to do. So all these people were telling me like I needed to do something to help others because they saw that in me as well, you know. um, so eventually, so eventually, here's the thing, like universe pushed us out of the US, out of my old jobs, out of wherever, you know, and we ended up in France in a tiny village because of paperwork and all these things that I won't get into. We had to stay in this tiny village, town of 8,000 people. And I got pregnant, and it was like a magical nature, like rural, in a rural area. So I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to get a coaching certificate, I guess, because it was the first time probably ever that I had room to start asking myself what I actually wanted to do. Because I was like, I'm pregnant, I'm just like hanging out here, so I guess I'll just get a certification. And that's sort of where everything started happening, you know. And then I realized, you know, I don't want to be a miserable person. I want to be the person that, like my daughter, is going to look up to. Like, even if I don't make it, whatever, but at least she's going to see me freaking trying like a mofo, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so amazing. Like, so you ended up in the middle of nowhere, pregnant, and like, I know what, I'm going to do coaching. So what happened then? Like, how did it form into from coaching? I mean, did you know when you said coaching it was going to be like style and
No.
the kind of stuff you do? Okay, so talk
No,
to me
because
more.
I kept trying to do the thing. I was like, okay, now I'm going to get the code. I have the coaching certification. So now I know I'm going to help people. So that's cool. And I can have my own business. But then I was like, okay, so, you know, the same thought a lot of people have, like, how can I get as many clients as possible? I'll just be really fucking generic. Yay. And so I pretty much like got rid of all personality. Like I was really, because I am a quirky
Yeah,
weirdo.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's just the way it is. But in my photos and stuff like that, I was just like, you know, I really told my photographer, I was like, I just wanted like a credible coach. And so like all my photos were just so like no personality, no anything. So I really was just trying to be a life coach. And then obviously I heard crickets. Like I had a couple friends, you know, just kindly pretend to hire me or something, but I really didn't have any clients because no one knew who I was and I was not showing my personality. And obviously, since I wasn't in my, like, it wasn't my jam, I didn't really have much to say. Like, I literally would sit in front of like a Facebook empty post and be like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what to write. Like, how do people do this? You know? So it was sort of an exercise in becoming more and more authentic in who I was and starting to show that and just owning it. And, you know, owning my woo-woo side, owning the magic, which were parts that I never really showed because I thought people again would think I was crazy. And just the more I sort of started showing that, the more I developed my voice, the more people started responding. You know, it's like the simplest thing, but it's hard as shit, and but it
Yeah,
works. It
so
changes
much.
everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, so much,
Yeah.
so much, so much. So can I just say I do think you're crazy, but I absolutely love it, and that's what attracts me to you. Like that's why I'm
Oh,
like, oh, I need to speak to this woman because like it is attractive. So
thank you for calling me crazy. I take that as a compliment.
it was a humongous 100% compliment. So so owning your truth and talking your truth then and settling into who you are is a lot about what I talk about as well. However, it is hard, isn't it? Like, and I
Yeah.
think sometimes what's the most worrying thing is like I always think, oh, what if I change my mind tomorrow? I change my mind so much. So I'm
Me
like,
too. I'm a fickle asshole. That's what I call myself. I
and
am.
and
Yeah.
and people find it really hard to keep up with me. So I'm like, I might say something one day and then like the next week I'm like, oh fuck, why did I say that? Like I really don't think that anymore. But it's out there for everyone to see. And so I've just
Yeah.
learned like just to deal with that, and I tell people that. So that's how I'm dealing with it. But
Yeah.
how did that transition happen? Because from going from someone who sat there and um trying to be what's the word that you use, like applicable to everyone, you were applicable to no one, but then going through that transition of showing up and then really speaking the language that you want to speak, like what did you have to do to become more you?
I think I love that question. And the first thing, and I always used to say this in the beginning because I was so going through this, but I think one of the biggest things that always kept me back was trying to be everyone's cup of tea, trying to be liked by every freaking fracking buddy. And I really tried, and obviously it's impossible. But
Mhm.
it's like one day I got like this really, it's almost like it whacked me over the head. Like I finally got the download, like, you are not everyone's cup of tea, so stop trying. And once that really landed, it was a crash landing, but it landed. Once it did that and I really got it, it was almost like a relief, like, oh my God, I don't have to do that. And that kind of opened up, that allowed me to relax and sort of understand, like, okay, if I don't care, you know, about being everyone's cup of tea, then I can maybe say this, or maybe I can wear this and not everyone's going to get it. Or, you know, like it opened up so much. It sort of like, yeah, it just brought this relief and just allowed me to start expressing that more and more, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I'm at a
Yeah.
stage at the moment where I'm trying to repel people. I'm like,
Yeah.
how far can I go with this? Like every
Yeah.
time I see people leaving my group, I'm like, woo! like, yes, there's room for some more people who will get me now.
Exactly. That's how I
Yeah,
feel now too. It's
yeah,
kind of exciting.
it
Yeah.
is. It is very scary though. And I feel like as I'm on this journey, it's very like to and fro in. Like
Oh yeah.
some days I'm like, oh no, actually I do want to please everyone. And then next days I'm like, then I am cheating that people are leaving me.
Yeah.
So and I always so you'll probably slap me on the wrist for this, but I never check mirror or anything before I go live, and I do go live quite often. And then when I get on my live, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I probably should have brushed my hair or put some makeup on maybe, or maybe wiped the baby sick off my t-shirt. That probably would have been a good idea. Thankfully, we don't use this video everywhere. It goes into voice, so not everybody's going to see the bad lighting on me right now.
No.
But yeah, I think that's like part of the journey, isn't it? Like just showing up as who you are, and just letting the people kind of tune in who are going to tune in, and the ones tune out who are not going to tune out. I know
Yeah.
at one point I would very much like try and, you know, makeup on, hair done, and there's just no time for it in the world when you're doing the things that you love.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, this is something that I don't get to say very often, and so I really want people to understand it's not about looking a certain way, or it's not about having to do your hair and makeup every day. It's about the vibration that it's about your frequency. So if you're dressing in whatever sloppy pajamas and something that's stained, like the crotch is blown out or whatever, because you feel like you're a big ball of shit, because you feel like you're worthless or unworthy, then that's what you're going to be vibrating. But when you get to a level of like, you know what, I am fucking unconditionally amazing no matter what, you can wear this, you can wear that, because it's not going to change your vibration. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's not the case for everyone. Some people want to dress up no matter what, like that's part of them. Some people don't. But for me, it's like, find those things that really help you to express yourself and to reach that vibration until you can sort of hang out there by yourself unconditionally. Does that make sense? Did I explain it?
Yeah, it does completely, and I love that you said that, because it makes me feel
Yeah.
so much better about myself.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, girl, you are confident like a mofo. Like, look at you're just owning it. So, and that's the difference between like, oh no, like you're not apologizing. That's a whole different energy, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, and you look
Um,
lovely anyway. So.
oh, thanks. So, what you after? So I'm really interested in hearing about the kind of spiritual journey that you're on, and like where you were and where you've come to.
Mm, yes. So that, let's see. So basically, I was always kind of like, I've always been intrigued into by like devotion and ritual and like, almost like sacrifice for something bigger or whatever. I was raised Catholic, and I was really fascinated by it. But at the same time, there were parts of it like the guilt and shame and all those things that were kind of like, nyeh, like kind of creep me out, you know. So eventually, a friend of mine introduced me to Buddhism, and I started like chanting and these different things. And my grandmother, who was very Catholic, she would actually chant with me, and she would be like, "Oh, it's all the same thing. It's all love anyway. So I'm just gonna chant with you." So I started sort of understanding like I could just create my own. That was when I was in college, yeah. So I could start sort of creating my own spirituality, whatever that meant to me, you know. So at the same time, though, I wasn't very kind to myself. I had a really horrible self-image. I was very self-loathing. So I was unconditionally loving to everyone else, but that's not true either, because as we know, we reflect, you know, like there was a lot of judgment and stuff in my mind, but then I was so nice and so helpful and totally a doormat, you know. And then eventually I met, so the moment that sort of changed everything for me. So I always had this like spirituality in my pocket. I knew that Jesus was my homeboy. I was totally connected with the universe, all these things. But then for myself, like I just didn't like myself at all. And then I was introduced when I lived in Mexico City to an amazing magical man who was a therapist, but also a Reiki practitioner and a healer and a witch, a sorcerer. And so he started teaching me stuff like I could set boundaries, different things, like I didn't have to please everyone, all these different tools. And at the same time, he taught me, because I also suffered from anxiety. So he attuned me to Reiki so that I could, start healing myself and calm myself down from anxiety attacks and things like this. And it's from that moment, like when I became attuned to Reiki, when I started understanding how much power I actually had, and how much, this is sort of the moment where I got awareness of like, shit, I am the creator, even though I was manifesting way before that. But it's like, it finally hit me that I was worthy of loving myself, that I could set these boundaries. And so from there, I kind of started playing with more things, because also my sister happens to be an amazing shaman. It's in our lineage, in our Mexican lineage. And so I kind of attributed that role to her. I was like, there's not enough, like, she's the magical one, I'm just the normal one with a freaking corporate job. And so even she would always tell me, like, you're magical too, just stop it, like there's enough magic for both of us to stop. And so eventually I started sort of owning that more and more, and practicing Reiki, and then started doing ceremonies and all these different things. And it's almost like all these things I had inside me that I always knew were there just kind of started coming out more. So now, like, I've been doing, so like, I don't know if it's channeling, but yeah, I'm definitely just becoming more connected. Doing light activations, like I receive light activations. No one ever taught me that shit, you know what I mean? But it's like stuff that just happens and you're like, okay, I guess we're doing this. So yeah, just interesting. The more I open, the more I love myself, the more I'm just like, okay, like bring it, even if it's scary or uncomfortable. The more cool, weird shit keeps happening. So did I answer the question? I don't even know if I answered the question.
Yeah. And I'm just waiting for you to stop so we can dig into some of it, because like I don't want to forget anything.
Oh, go ahead. I'll shut up now. I'll stop.
So what did you say? Light activation.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me a bit more about this. I've not heard this term before.
Yes, so I started, well, a few years ago, I received an awareness that I had some lives on. This sounds so straight. I think this is the first time I've ever spoken about anything like this, like in an interview. So good on you,
Blessed.
bringing out new information.
Give it to me, girlfriend.
You're a good ass interviewer. Oh yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. Don't you worry. You're gonna think I'm even crazier now. So I got an awareness from different sources that I actually had previous lives in Lemuria, a forgotten, like an ancient city that has since disappeared, obviously, sort of like Atlantis. And so from there, I started receiving, like when I was doing Reiki, I would start doing weird stuff, like my hands would just start doing things. I would receive messages and different codes, like I could actually see codes. And then I got the awareness that these were Lemurian light codes to help, reprogram people, release certain thoughts, bring or different things that came in from past lives, things like this, and help to recode people to just be happier, to be more confident, whatever, to support the work that I do with them, essentially, right? But at a much deeper level, obviously. So that's just something that started happening, like, with clients, I would suddenly start like hearing messages or, getting awareness of something that they were supposed to know, things like this. So that's just, it's been happening more and more. And it's just, yeah. So I got the awareness that they're called Lemurian light codes.
That's so interesting. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
you're telling me. It's kooky and it feels weird, but then the responses and the responses are just interesting, like really powerful. So it's not me, it's like definitely coming through me. So who am I to say no?
Yeah. And I always think, because I'm quite new into the kind of woo-woo side of stuff, and I always used to say that whatever is like, it doesn't matter what is, but whatever is, so it doesn't matter. But since having my second daughter 3 months ago, I felt like a real calling to discover more. So all this stuff's really interesting. And I always think, like, I've got such a crazy imagination. Like, how do I know what's my imagination? Because I can't watch scary films because I have nightmares. I just can't do it. I don't understand why anybody watches scary films.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's so fascinating. It really is. so on to the subject of, you mentioned about anxiety and about using Reiki. So I'm really interested to understand a bit more about how you used Reiki with your anxiety to help calm yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, so Reiki is basically you get attuned, you receive some symbols, and then you are able to then be a transmitter of Reiki energy. So it comes from the universe, it's just universal love. And it helps heal like emotions and physical ailments. It's pretty powerful. So once I got attuned, I was able to, activate the energy and then, calm myself down. So ground myself by, and it's all very intuitive. Also, there's no right or wrong way. So you just kind of like scan like your hands, or you just kind of know where to go. So I started just sort of, healing myself by, sending myself energy and love. Um, and it was really interesting how it really helped, just having that tool, and also just knowing like when you're having an anxiety attack that really sucks. So just having a tool and being like, okay, I can stop for a moment and I can actually intentionally, kind of send myself love, right? That's what it is ultimately. um, so that was really big for me to start doing something kind for myself as well. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not something I used to do.
it's crazy. And this was the reason why I wanted to learn a bit more about it, because I think that in entrepreneurism, if that's a word, there is so much
It is
like
now.
there is so much like I struggle with anxiety, and I think there's so like it's a bit of a taboo subject. Like people just don't talk about it because it's not right, or it means you failed or whatever, which I think is completely wrong. I think entrepreneurs have the trait of anxiety, and I think that
Yeah.
that's because we take so much pressure upon ourselves, and like we're always pushing, or I used to be always pushing, 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 and it used to
Yeah.
feel like everything had to be hard, and that's such
Mm,
a big limiting belief, because it
yeah.
doesn't have to be hard. But I think anxiety comes as a kind of tag on to that, because
Yeah.
the more we push, the harder it becomes, the more anxious we
Mm,
become.
yeah.
Which yeah, but yeah, I used to I do that. I was looking recently into doing Reiki, but when
Oh,
I start to feel really anxious, I just put my hand on my heart and I'm like, it's
yep.
okay, I can ground
Yep.
myself. I've got
Hmm.
this.
Yeah, and I think one thing like I love that you do that, because even that helps, doesn't it? It gets you back in the present moment, because when I don't know if you've heard that quote, I'm totally not going to say it the right way, but it's basically like people who think about the past are sad and depressed, people who think about the future are anxious and stressed out. So that's why you have to be in the present moment. Um, so I mean, that's the same good reminder, like with Reiki, with touching yourself like on your chest or whatever to ground that energy. It's really, it just kind of brings you back to this moment, instead of being like, oh my god, but I have to meet this like $300,000, 300K goal by this date or whatever, because we freak ourselves out. I know I totally do it, right? So it's good reminder constantly, and beautiful contrast to see how you are and how things unfold when you're in anxiety mode and when you're not in anxiety mode, right? Because when I'm not in anxiety mode, I can actually receive magical shit.
Yeah, so I'm really
Yeah.
interested then, because to see if you're like this as well. So I've discovered in the last probably 9 months that I don't like planning. Just don't. I just
Yeah.
I just struggle with it so much, because I always find if I do plan, I replan to replan to replan. I don't follow my plan anyway.
Yeah.
So even down to like when I do talks and I'm speaking at events and stuff, like I recently spoke, well, it's not that recent actually, it was nearly 12 months ago. And I spoke at the school that I went to, which was a big kind of 360 for me, because I failed at school and I was removed from school before I got my results, before I got any GCSEs. Um,
Mm.
and they asked me to go and be their motivational end of year speaker. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and I tried sitting down to plan, and I was like, yeah, no, this is just not happening. And
Yeah.
so the night before, I probably sat down and wrote like an idea of what I might say, and I got there and I just showed up and did it. Um, but I think if I'd have planned as well, that would have made me feel anxious, because then I would have worried.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how
No,
do
I
you
totally agree with that.
plan?
So I've definitely, this is something I've struggled with too. I'm not a planner either. When people are like, what's your 5-year plan? Or I'm like, I have so much. And then it's just like I'm throwing up confetti because it's like all these things I'm like all these ideas and stuff, you know. I'm like, so I've what I've started and I'm definitely a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal, or like you know, kind of off the cuff. That kind of works better
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think the same as you, like otherwise I'm like thinking about it, like, oh, did I miss a word, or did I miss an idea? So usually I'll do notes or something and that works. However, at the same time, because I do have all these ideas and I'm kind of like a hummingbird a little bit. So this is, so it helps me to have sort of like small things planned, like recently, like in the past few months, it's really helped me to just like like on Mondays or something, just plan out content and images for the week, and then I have them, and then I just know that at least that will get posted by my VA on a specific days. And then so then if I'm doing something crazy or creative, or if I just don't feel like it, something's still happening, you know what I mean? um, so I've started to do little things like that to kind of have some structure, to be consistent, because for me it was my being that way has had sort of taken away from being consistent, which obviously is not helpful. So it's been a good exercise for me to bring in some of that, a little bit of structure to just help me feel more grounded, I guess. I don't know if you resonate with that or if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it does make sense, but I just use something called recur post. So once the content's on there, it just doesn't stop posting. So I
Ah.
don't have to be, I don't have to be consistent. It shows up for me.
Okay, I need to maybe look into that. So you don't even
Yeah.
have a VA that has to do it. You just go and like program. Is it like a Hootsuite type of deal?
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
I'll look
Yeah.
it up for her post. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. And for anyone who's listening, I talk about it all the time and I recommend everyone
Hmm.
use it. The free option lets you use up to 3 accounts. I only ever use 3 accounts anyway. Once you've got the bank of content and just add your content to it, it just continues to post on your behalf until you stop it.
Oh my God,
Ah,
that's like a Christmas miracle. Thank you.
amazing. I know.
Okay.
Right.
Huh.
So I would love for our listeners to hear a little bit more about what you do and how you can help anyone on their journey too.
Hmm. So, I mean, it depends. So, a lot like the smaller scale stuff or whatever that I do is, you know, style stuff. So, playing in your closet, discovering what you have in there. I work with the elements, so air, water, earth, space, fire, to help you understand what your visual expression is. And then based on that, we go and look at your wardrobe and help you, you know, come up with outfits that are really in alignment with your style essence, as I call it. Um, so that's sort of, you know, where things start, and then from there, ultimately the work I do with people, the end game is to get to that iconic energy. So whatever your version of iconic is, that's where we want to get you, so you're just at your biggest, most amazing, right? It's like the whole dress as if being that person you want to be right now. So so that happens through photo shoots in Paris. I'm also doing a live event for a circle of 7 women in a chateau here in the south of France in September. So I'm very excited. I have a couple of spots left for that. So that's going to all be around, you know, being iconic. What does that mean? What does that look like? And then showing, you know, how does that person dress? How does she show up in a photo shoot? So really going through sort of a magical portal to get them to that at the end. So yeah, and then I have a coaching program as well that helps with that also. So it's all, the end game is definitely being iconic from the inside out, just owning the shit out of it.
That sounds amazing. Amazing. So where can people find out more about you if they want to take anything further?
Yes, so on Facebook, I'm Eyenie Schultz, so EyenieSchultz. My Facebook group is Dress to Manifest, and that's all about using what you wear to help you manifest because you're vibrating at that frequency. I'm also on Instagram as Eyenie Schultz, and my website is technicolorpriestess.com, and I have lots of freebies on there.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to be. I just love the names. I love the language that you use. It just completely speaks to me. I absolutely love
Oh, thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
That makes
Okay.
me happy.
Is there anything else that I've not asked you that you'd like to add?
Hmm. Yeah, I love this conversation. I think I don't think I needed to add anything. I think you've done an amazing job of asking really unique questions. So thank you, amazing lady.
Oh, and you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much.
Yay, my pleasure. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you for being here. Don't forget to always speak your truth and be who you are, because there is someone out there today who needs to hear your message. If you need anything from us at all, head over to thefemaleentrepreneursnetwork.com and check us out. You'll find everything you could possibly need over there. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next episode.